welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We have a lot of stuff to get into. We really appreciate you joining us here today. This is what is going on, and I apologize for that there. Brett Kavanaugh, we're covering everything about his hearing. Here's what we're going to get to. Brett Kavanaugh's opening statement was crazy. Take a Christine Blasey Ford's brave refusal of really to lay down and take it. Dick Durbin got Brett Kavanaugh to shut the F up finally. The Senate Judiciary Committee is still going to hold a vote at 9:30 today. We'll preview that. Lindsey Graham goes crazy. Mark Judge is absent very conspicuously, and after Kavanaugh's hearing, there are now four, or at least yesterday, there were four swing votes locked in an office to talk about Brett Kavanaugh, which is seems a little important. And we'll get Fox News reaction to the hearing for at least the people who are on Fox News, because one Fox News contributor, and we're not going to cover this day, but I guess just get out of the way. He literally got fired for calling Christine Blasey Ford a skank, which is incredible. Facing the Senate Judiciary on Thursday afternoon, following the emotional and heart-wrenching testimony of Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, the woman who alleges he assaulted her at a high school party, in the 1980s. Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh looked visibly furious, made a lengthy, rambling, and highly emotional opening statement in which he reiterated his denial. He had never, ever sexually assaulted Ford or anyone else. 2 weeks ago, Dr. Ford publicly accused me of committing a very serious wrong more than 36 years ago when we were both in high school. Kavanaugh said, "I deny the allegation immediately, categorically, and unequivocally." Kavanaugh attacked Ford's account and stressed that her friend Leland Kaiser, although she denied knowing Kavanaugh and didn't recall the gathering in question, Ford said during her testimony that Kaiser had apologized to her in a text message. I believe she did actually recant the statement. So, all right, let's take a look. The Leland Kaiser issue is a little bit of something that kind of remains unclear at this point from how we stand about on the issue, because apparently what Ford is she was saying that her friend Leland Kaiser supposedly had some mental health issues, and she was working on getting better with that. But there was apparently Kavanaugh felt it was okay to use him out there as someone who's a witness, if you know what I mean, someone who is a character witness or defense for Brett Kavanaugh. So here he is talking about this.
This whole 2-week effort has been a calculated and orchestrated political hit, fueled with apparent pent-up anger about President Trump and the 2016 election, fear that has been unfairly stoked about my judicial record, revenge on behalf of the Clintons, and millions of dollars in money from outside left-wing opposition groups. This is a circus. The consequences will extend long past my nomination. The consequences will be with us for decades. This grotesque and coordinated character assassination will dissuade competent and good people of all political persuasions from serving our country. And as we all know, in the United States political system of the early 2000s, what goes around comes around.
All right, so there is Brett Kavanaugh being very mad at pretty much everyone in the hearing. We'll have more clips for you coming. But yeah, so at one point, Kavanaugh even broke down crying while recalling that his young daughter said the family should pray for Ford. There's a lot of wisdom from a 10-year-old. Yeah, I mean, maybe she's got a good idea. Maybe she's got a good idea there. Maybe you shouldn't just spend the whole week, and this kind of extends to conservatives too, attacking her and calling her a liar, calling her crazy. Yeah, maybe you should pray for Ford because maybe she needs it more than you. Kavanaugh called sexual assault horrific and said the allegations must be taken seriously, but again, denied the allegations against him. I categorically and unequivocally deny the allegation against me by Dr. Ford. Never had any sexual or physical encounter of any kind with Dr. Ford. I'm not questioning that Dr. Ford may have been sexually assaulted by some person in some place at some time, but I've never done that to her or anyone. Kavanaugh said that it was possible he met Ford, but he said he mostly hung out with girls from other area Catholic schools. He repeatedly brought up his calendar from 1982, which he provided to the committee in an attempt to show evidence of him not being there, and at various points began crying while discussing his father and the calendars. He also became emotional while discussing a memory of lifting at his friend's Tobin's house. Yeah, he really got more emotional than the person who is he got way more emotional than Christine Blasey Ford, which is pretty incredible. He was a wreck. He was either yelling, and that's why I know it may be sound a little bit controversial to some people, but that's why I put it in the title. It seems like there is it seems like he was bipolar, because that's honestly what it seemed like watching the hearing. He would go from yelling, screaming to absolutely sobbing, which was really what it would be. Where he was yelling at the Democrats, calling them a national disgrace, national embarrassment, and then he'd be like, "I'm so sorry, I have so many friends who are girls." It was really kind of unhinged, almost in a way. He says, "I drank beer with my friends, usually on the weekend. Sometimes I had too many beers, sometimes others didn't. I like beer, I still like beer," Kavanaugh said, "but I didn't drink beer to the point of blacking out, and I didn't sexually assault anyone." Kavanaugh did apologize to a woman, Renee Dolphin, whom he claimed, and I think we did cover this on the show. He was a dear friend, even though he listed himself as Renee alumnus in the Georgetown Prep yearbook. And Kavanaugh said it was a harmless reference to their friend. And here's the thing. Dolphin says it was a little different. This is the actual person who was called a Renee alumnus. And he was like, yeah, we were just friends. She was just calling it one of us. Dolphin said in a statement to the New York Times, "I learned about these yearbook pages only a few days ago. I don't know what Renee alumnus actually means. I cannot begin to comprehend what goes through the minds of 17-year-old boys who write such things, but the insinuation is horrible, hurtful, and simply untrue. I pray their daughters are never treated this way. I have no further comment." Yeah, he said he wanted to look back at some of the things in his yearbook, and that said that when he looked back on some of the things in the yearbook, it made him cringe, and he blamed it on a want to emulate recent movies at the time, like Animal House. As for sex, this is not a topic that I thought it would come up in the judicial confirmation hearing. Yeah, Kavanaugh, dude, you're accused of sexual assault. That's why we're all here today. That's pretty much the whole game behind it. Yeah, so Kavanaugh said, "I never had sex in high school or the many years after. At the time, I was inwardly proud of it," citing his Catholicism there. And he went pretty crazy on that. But now we turn to the star of the show, I guess you could say, Christine Blasey Ford. Senate Judiciary Committee hearing with Blasey Ford this morning was underway. It's been absolutely heart-wrenching to hear Ford describe her memories of sexual assault in front of the entire world. And so far, reporting of these events have been partly through Splinter.com. So we just want to give him credit for that there. So she really made a lot of people emotional through her opening statement. With the detail she described the assault, she was getting almost emotional, but she actually held it together. Kavanaugh was like a weeping mess. But yeah. And so here's Ford questioning, Feinstein questioning Ford about some of what was going on. So about a possibility of a mistaken identity.
You are very clear about the attack, being pushed into the room. You say you don't know quite by whom, but that it was Brett Kavanaugh that covered your mouth to prevent you from screaming, and then you escaped. How are you so sure that it was he?
The same way that I'm sure that I'm talking to you right now. It's just basic memory functions, and also just the level of norepinephrine and epinephrine in the brain that sort of, as you know, encodes that neurotransmitter, encodes memories into the hippocampus, and so the trauma-related experience then is kind of locked there, whereas other details kind of drift.
So what you are telling us is this could not be a case of mistaken identity?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, so that's pretty much she kind of dropped some doctor knowledge because Feinstein again after Grassley's opening statement took the time in her opening statement to introduce her, and she said she was like, yeah, this person is sitting in front of us today, and I watched that part and I was like, whoa. She's one smarty pants. Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize that she had all those, like, she's like multiple degrees, all that kind of thing. And now we get to probably a very impactful quote here from Patrick Leahy of Vermont, who also had a very interesting exchange concerning Mark Judge with Brett Kavanaugh the second time around.
What is the strongest memory you have? The strongest memory of the incident, something that you cannot forget. Take whatever time you need.
Indelible in the hippocampus is the laughter, the uproarious laughter between the two, and they're having fun at my expense.
Wow. So yeah, that is a very chilling situation. So then Leahy goes on to say, "You've never forgotten that laughter. You've never forgotten them laughing you." Ford said they were laughing at each other. And then Leahy said, you were the object of that laughter. And Ford said, I was underneath one of them while the two laughed, the two friends having a good time with one another. That is some chilling stuff there. Like, imagine, like, such a vivid image of just people, like, one person about ready to rape you, and they're both laughing about it. I mean, I don't know. I'm really not sure that's something I would forget soon. Just saying, yeah. So, another moment came when Illinois Senator Dick Durbin asked, with what degree of certainty do you believe Brett Kavanaugh assaulted you? And here's what she had to say to that.
What is the strongest memory you have?
Oh, sorry, this is the last tweet. But, all right, this is the...
I'm asking you to address this new defense of mistaken identity directly. Dr. Ford, with what degree of certainty do you believe Brett Kavanaugh assaulted you?
100%.
100%.
Wow, yeah, so 100% is it's pretty defining. There's no doubt about that, and yeah, so we're going to move on now to some of the Ford's testimony, which was viewed by most people really as incredibly compelling. We'll find out how some of the people on Fox News viewed it afterwards, and you'll be actually probably pretty surprised because they were pretty impacted by it as well. And yeah, so yeah, we all know how Kavanaugh was a little bit feisty after a furious opening statement and angry combative exchanges with Dianne Feinstein and Patrick Leahy for really no reason. Like, he was just, like, Brett Kavanaugh versus Patrick Leahy was pretty much an attack on an old man because he was just asking, like, completely normal questions. Like, just asking about the yearbook, and Kavanaugh was like, and he was also asking about, Mark Judge. He was also asking about, some of the things Mark Judge wrote about the Bardo Kavanaugh. He was like, is that true? Well, then pretty much what Brett Kavanaugh goes is like, well, Mark Judge has a very serious drinking addiction. If you want to stand here and mock someone with a drinking addiction, yeah, it's just my problem. Yeah, so Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois challenged Kavanaugh on consenting to an FBI investigation, which would bring in other witnesses. Right now, turn to your left in the front row to Don McGahn, counsel to President Trump, and ask him to suspend this hearing and nomination process until the FBI completes its investigation of the charges of Dr. Ford and others and goes to bring the witnesses and provides that information. Let's bring them in here now. So that's what... And that's pretty much what he could have done. That's what Durbin was urging him to do. And let's hear how Kavanaugh responded.
Right now, turn to your left in the front row to Don McGahn, counsel to President Donald Trump. Ask him to suspend this hearing and nomination process until the FBI completes its investigation of the charges made by Dr. Ford and others and goes to bring the witnesses forward and provides that information to this hearing. I'm sure that the chairman at that point will understand that that is a reasonable request to finally put to rest these charges if they are false or to prove them if they are not.